Hello, I'm Jeff DeHont, social worker, policy analyst, and playwright. I recently worked for the City of Toronto, and while employed there, a unique housing development came to mind. Deeply affordable units with 24/7 on-site support workers would assist people with mental health and substance abuse issues. All buildings would have a view of a lake, for a reason I'll get to in a minute, and every inch of the building would be sustainable. Various design features would control temperature because, as we've heard, some marginalized folks and some vulnerable folks experience climate very differently than others. So we want to make sure the air is breathable, the temperature is not too hot or not too cold. We want to make sure the water is safe, all these kinds of things. But the big thing about the housing development was that at sundown, folks would get into a boat. Remember I said I was looking at a lake? And they would take a little ride out 100, 200 feet out. And then the buildings would separate from the shoreline and form a hug around the people in those boats. So literally every inch of that property was designed to make people feel heard, seen, honored, safe. Imagine that feeling if that happened everywhere in Canada, that every city you think of offered that. Now, the beautiful thing about housing is it doesn't have to give you a hug to be a miracle. But I do want to keep that concept, so put it in the back of your head for now. We'll move away from the hug, just temporarily, but we'll come back to it. So do keep it in the back of your head. There are developments in Belgium, Italy, Spain, all kinds of different places that are offering beautiful architecture, environmental sustainable development, and social supports and community. So it is done worldwide. I myself I live near a ravine, and I love it. Coyotes, foxes, rabbits, dogs, hikers, just peace and quiet, shade. There's all kinds of things there. So when I leave, I feel safe. And that's actually the concept I want everyone to have, period. I don't feel it's enough to build a house, even if it's a nice house. I think it does something different for people's mental health if it's like, we cherish you. And that ravine makes me feel cherished. I'm privileged enough to live near something like that where I can access it. So tonight's talks are devoted to climate innovations. My suggested innovation is joy in design. I'm not here to say specifics about science or what could go in the housing, etc. It's more to point out that feeling I mentioned earlier. Just imagine living somewhere where that much premium was put on you. We're literally going to give you a hug every night. We love you. And we're not just saying it. That house keeps you safe. That ceremony makes you feel heard. And you get it no matter what. And if you don't want it, then don't go on the boat. It's okay. That's a different kind of housing. And I think that's what we need to get to. So yes, sustainable, and yes, and this is very much tied to climate because we know who's going to suffer most now. We've already seen it. We've heard examples earlier about British Columbia, et cetera. So in Canada already, in this decade, we've seen what happens to people who don't have great incomes, and the climate goes bad. So housing is part of this, and it goes beyond being sustainable. I think it needs to do something more. Now, there's another reason I'm speaking about joy. Sometimes my thoughts drift to a very dark place. I think of pollution, war, poverty, urban sprawl, pain on a global scale. And my faith lies in despair. And my spirit just connects to disaster. That's what happens when you don't feel joy. I'm not talking like, oh, let's be happy and put a smile on our face. Look, we built some very nice housing for people that are poor or have mental health issues. I'm going beyond that. I'm saying we built houses that's medicine for all. Because that joy is apparent. We prioritized joy. We prioritized love. We prioritized care for others. We invested millions of dollars in it and built this beautiful ceremony you can see every night from the sky. Right? Because you would see entire housing developments break and give this hug, or whatever the equivalent can be. So Everything I hate wants me to feel despair, wants me to give up, wants to break me. It wants me to feel pain instead of calm. It wants me to give up. And I repeat, housing does not have to hug us to feel like medicine. It can still be sustainably developed. It can still be unique. It can still be built with community gatherings in mind, with or without a crazy design. Imagine a development with a grocery store, a pharmacy, a public market, a park, a library, anything like that. Just anything that makes people feel like they're in a community, anything that makes them feel valued, anything that gives them a chance to gather and feel supported. Just imagine that. I don't care what the specifics are. I'm giving a big idea to illustrate a point, but the specifics don't matter. What matters is that love, right? And what matters is that people see it. Now, close your eyes, breathe deep, right? Imagine housing as social justice and as a climate initiative. What would you add to it? Would there be that park? Would there be a place to watch a movie with your fellow housemates? I don't care about the specifics, but what I care about right now is, with your eyes closed and that breath going in, how do you feel in your cells? What is it doing to you? Is it changing? Are you calmer? Are you happier? Are you more energized? Do you feel that joy? Now, why am I asking you about how you feel in your cells? The revolution doesn't lie in specific details. It relies on a sense of awe. And that's what I want to restore to the climate narrative, this awe. Like, you just go to a place and you instantly know it's a place of healing. You instantly know it's a place of gathering. You instantly know it's a place of love. And it just changes your body. That's what we need. Now, why do we bring this up? Because if that feeling is there, is that housing truly medicine? And shouldn't housing be the ultimate medicine we provide to all vulnerable people? So that's it for me. Thank you very much.